I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Join Karen Cullum, Greg Claudio, and me as we take you to some of our favorite fishing spots from Colorado to Minnesota, the Arctic Circle to Central America and beyond, as we revisit episodes of Mountain States Fishing and Angling Adventures Television on the best of fishing with Terry Wickstrom.
Hey, we're out here today at Horsetooth Reservoir, and for those people that listen to the radio show a lot, you'll recognize this guy's voice as soon as he talks. He's on our radio show a lot, Chad LaChance. Chad, it's going to be great to go out and fish with you.
I'm looking forward to it, Terry. Looking forward to taking you out on the lake.
Chad, of course, you run a guide service. You do some work with Sportsman's Warehouse, among the other things, tournament fishing, things you do, but you do a lot of guiding on this lake at Horsetooth. Now, one of the neat things about Horsetooth, it's right in our backyard.
Absolutely, yeah, it's right here, and I literally live just within sight of us.
Yeah, and I live just a couple miles away, so it's a lake that you think we'd get to fish a lot. You do.
Yeah.
I seem to be traveling all over, but it's one that if you live on the Front Range of Colorado, or if you don't and you're traveling here, just a great lake to come and fish. What do you expect to catch today?
I would expect to catch a lot of smallmouth today, maybe a couple of big ones, lots of numbers of fish, possibly some walleyes as well.
And this lake, in addition to that, at different times of the year, you can catch trout. There's splake in here.
Sure. Yep.
Good population
yellow perch are
of
good
yellow
in here.
perch.
Yeah, you see a lot of those.
It's a great fishery and it's a great lake. This lake was drawn down a few years ago. They rejuvenated, brought it back, planted forage. The fish are doing well. Now, as Chad said, we're probably going to catch numbers of smallmouth today and a few walleyes, but the chances of catching a big one this time of the year are real iffy.
They are. You got to hit your bite just right, but if you do it, you definitely can catch them. They're there.
And springtime, you catch a lot of big ones. Now, you guide on this lake. If you were going to come out to just catch big fish, you'd come out in the spring.
Early spring, late March through early May.
But right now we're here. It's the last couple of days of June. We're going to get out, and we just want to have some fun, show you a few techniques that you can use not only here, but on any lake just like this that has smallmouth, and show you a little bit about Horsetooth Reservoir.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about summer fishing for smallmouth, and like you say, it's going to be very similar whether you're here, Pueblo, or Chatfield, or any of the lakes you like to fish. The patterns and bites we're going to use today will be very similar to what you would find at those lakes. We're
here in the end of June. We're fishing falling water. We're actually back in a Marina Bay, but this bay is big enough to almost act like a main lake point.
Yeah.
And so you're going to find the fish on either the points on big bays or main lakes, probably not in the back of the bays anymore with this falling water.
No, we've got 50 feet of water here right behind the boat, so we've got plenty of water. We've also got the inlet here and a major channel coming out, so we do have water the fish can escape to immediately, and they'll be out off the ends of these rock piles and structures as opposed to right up on the banks.
You tell me. Now, we don't expect to catch a ton of big fish today. Springtime is really the big fish time on a lake like Horsetooth in Colorado. We're hoping to get numbers of fish and an occasional nice one, but it should be a good day and have lots of fun. Just right out in here?
Yes, sir. Now, like I said, it gets shallow on top of that. All
right, first fish, drew some blood.
Right off the top of the rock pile, right where he's supposed to be here. Let's see if we can get him gracefully here. We've got a bunch of hooks in this little bait.
And you know, that's about the size of the fish we expect to catch today.
We should catch them, lots of these, and hopefully some bigger ones as well.
Well, there's you know, a lot of people don't realize Horsetooth is going to be, there's tons of these small fish. You can have a good time. You need a pliers, or you got
I got a jerk bait with all them hooks on it. Yeah, pliers would be great if you got them, Terry.
Got them.
I got them right here.
Got them. He's got them. Let me see that little fish. Now, this isn't. We could hold him up by the camera, you know.
Okay,
but,
Roland.
You know, we're gonna catch a bunch like that, and it's fun. And what you'll do is you'll get confidence in your techniques, and you'll catch numbers of fish, and you'll have fun. And it used to be at Horsetooth that you'd catch those fish all day and wouldn't get very many big ones.
Right.
But now that the lake's been drawn down, especially in the spring. Now we're later in the summer. It's the end of June, first part of July. The big ones are going to be less aggressive, not as easy to catch. But you can still get some. You've seen some awfully big smallmouth coming out here, haven't you?
Absolutely. We've seen them 18, 19 inches fairly regular throughout the spring, and we may see one of those today on some deeper main lake points after we get through this early morning bite. But a little jerkbait like that will get it done all summer long.
Yeah, and that's what's that, a pointer?
This is a Lucky Craft pointer,
Lucky,
yeah. But a little Rapala X-Rap will do it, a Husky Jerk will do it as well. It's key that it just be real fast and erratic. We get a slick morning like this, and real fast, erratic retrieve will get those smallies fired up.
And that's what I've got here is a little X-Rap, which is similar type bait. This type of bait is a suspending bait. It's a jerk bait. You jerk through the water. When you pause, it just sits there and entices them. Although you don't pause as much as you do in the spring now. In the spring, it's jerk, 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 and long pauses. I mean, if you think you pause enough, wait another 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's certainly
and
the real cold water.
This time of year, you can keep a more regular rhythm going with them.
Absolutely. This time of year, I like to play on the fact that the fish's metabolism is a little bit faster, and they move a lot more, and you can kind of get it more of a reaction strike instead of trying to feed them so much. So
let's get a few more.
This time of year, I like to go real quick with it.
Yep, we're starting to pull them off. I'll tell you what, this is going to be another small fish. We're fishing these jerk baits. You get confidence in the lure. And notice that I don't bury 10 hooks in them, and mine's bigger than yours, too.
It's early, yeah. Get that out of there for you. Too used to guiding there.
Yeah. But, you know, another one, same size. They're not very big. Working this X-Rap along the shore. But it's nothing to have... you know, when the bite's on, it's nothing to have 30, 40 fish days, is it?
Absolutely, and with the water falling like this, an offshore rock pile like this is a really key deal. Water's a little bit low, and like I've always told people, I think it bothers the fishermen more than the fish, because here we got severely falling water, and yet we can still catch them.
And like I said, we expect to catch mostly fish, small, the aggressive ones. That's what we're fishing for right now, just trying to have some fun. But I tell you, you get out in the morning, and you might smack a big one doing this, because they're in there feeding too, but they're less aggressive this time of year. In the spring, you caught numbers of big fish.
We did, yeah.
Similar technique, a little different, but same type of baits.
Absolutely, same type of baits, maybe a little bit deeper running with, like you said, the very long pauses with the cold water. The water temperature should dictate how long your pauses are. And absolutely, it's a jerk bait for me is one of my top baits, and it really gets it done almost all season for me. Which feed here? And actually there's that little channel that cuts back and forth across there. This isn't a high percentage spot, but this whole little section of bank's got random rock on it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Real little one.
Yeah.
But it's just constant action and a lot of fun, and all those treble hooks, quit dancing.
Yeah, that's a dangerous fish right there, a 10-inch smallmouth with a face full of treble hooks.
Oh, I know. It's just, that's the only thing about catching them this way. You really got to be careful.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need your pliers. He turned his back one.
Skewered that one, huh?
Here we go. Another giant, about 6 pounds. You know, lots of them. We're starting out. Here's your pliers.
Thank you, sir.
We're starting out with lots of little fish, but that's what we expected. But you know, it's a day of smallmouth fishing, and I can't emphasize enough what fishing in situations like this will do for your confidence. Learning to use baits like this. We'll use some soft plastics during the day. We're going to use some different techniques. Probably the two bait, we're going to use some hard baits and probably some soft baits a little deeper. It'll probably be the...
That's exactly.
And that'll catch smallmouth bass anywhere in the world. When you come to a lake like Horsetooth, you can polish those techniques, and you've got a chance of getting some big fish here. You really do. And at the same time, when you go on that trip or those premier places or those times of the year, you're going to fish those baits right because you've got confidence in them.
All right, we got a Horsetooth giant here. That's a dangerous fish with all those treble hooks going every which way here. He wasn't coming off though.
Oh, he was hooked good, huh?
Yeah, buddy. When you get these big ones like this, it's important to get a good hook set.
They're fun though.
Yes, they are.
And like we were saying earlier, they give you confidence in your lure selection and your presentation and what you're doing.
Yeah, they let you know you're doing the right things, and you can fine-tune your actions to get your numbers of bites. And if you're not getting bit, you know you're not in the ballpark, which is sometimes good confidence.
We've actually moved off of a main lake point. It's actually a road bed that comes out by a buoy here. We've got a road bed that extends out with some brush on top of it. Because of the falling water, the fish are probably moving out of the bays, and probably a better chance of getting bit by a little bigger fish here.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's definitely been some bigger ones hanging out in here, and I would expect that we may very possibly see one, also a good walleye spot. See what keep him buttoned up just in case. That's a nice smallmouth.
Good.
Yeah, we'll take this fish. Stay buttoned, baby. Stay pinned. Stay pinned. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's a nice fish here.
Nice fish.
We like
Nice fish
this
for
one.
Horsetooth, that's
yeah,
for
we're
sure.
gonna, should we net him? Because I don't want to lip him with that much hook in him.
Yeah,
That's a nice
go ahead,
one.
let me. Want to make sure the people get to see him because it's a
Yeah.
nicer fish.
Oh, baby, come on, baby. Come on, baby, stay pinned.
There we go.
That's the one we're talking
Oh yeah,
about.
that's a toad.
That's the one we're
That's a
talking
toad.
about. Let me get a hold of him here, Terry. I appreciate your help in netting him.
Yeah, get him.
Got him.
Got him?
Yep, set that rod down here. We'll get him unhooked.
And this is the kind of fish, folks, that you never used to catch at Horsetooth on any kind of a regular basis, but you're really catching them on a regular basis now, aren't you?
Yeah, quite a few of them, you know. Look at the crawdad tentacles in his gullet. See the crawdad tentacles down in there, folks?
Oh yeah.
He's a eater. That's a good fish.
Fat, healthy fish. That's a nice fish.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna say one thing here. We got this fish out. I mean, that's a good smallmouth. Anywhere you fish, that's a great smallmouth, and they fight so well.
Oh man.
It's gonna take a long time to grow these fish in Horsetooth. There's numbers of them now from the lake being drawn down. Put these back. Harvest a few walleyes. If you want a few smallmouth, I don't know what the length limit is.
It's 12 inches here, and there's plenty of them that size in the lake.
Take those if you want to eat a few, but these fish, leave them so somebody else will let you release your fish, sir.
Appreciate that. That's beautiful. Mouthful of crawdads. We ought to take a clue there. See you, Bubba.
And that was again on the jerkbait. You saw us working earlier on the other point.
Just a basic little jerkbait, working it real quick, not letting it stop a whole long time, throwing it on Power Pro braid so it's very erratic. Got a nice rod wrap on there so it's easy, you don't have to hold on to the rod all day and it gets it done.
Let's get a few more. Well, Chad, you've been fishing Horsetooth for how long?
Oh, about 12 years now.
12 years. And how long have you been guiding on it now?
I was licensed, this is my 3rd season.
And I know you've been doing really well. You've really followed the lake.
I spent a lot of time staying on the lake, and if I go a short period without clients, I stay on top of the lake to keep up with the fish. Anytime you get fluctuating water levels, you really got to spend the time to stay on the water. And that way, when you're out with clients, you can be on the fish right off the bat.
Why don't you kind of take us through maybe a couple of the different seasons and what a person can expect?
Well, I start guiding basically in late March and early April, and at that point we're trophy hunting. We're catching big fish on suspending jerkbaits and tubes. When I say big fish, say 16 to 20 inch smallmouth. And then we move in from there into late April and early May, and that's really, we get heavy pre-spawn at that point. The fish really start moving up to spawn, and we'll do a lot of fishing, those fish with a variety of shallow baits. We'll start topwater fishing as well that time of year. And it could be a good mix of between numbers and good fish as well. And then we get in the end of May and early June, we get heavy spawning activity. We'll do some sight fishing for those fish. We'll catch a lot of those fish on topwaters at that time of year. Topwaters can be a serious numbers game in this lake. We can catch big numbers of smallies on poppers and walking baits. And then by end of June, we're done spawning. We're fishing all post spawners to start getting on summer patterns and doing pretty much what we're doing right now.
And today is the summer pattern. That pretty much holds up throughout the season.
Yep, that summer pattern bite will hold on for the rest of the year, and we'll just stay on top of fish, and as they move through different forage bases, we'll move with them, whether that be focusing on crayfish with a variety of jigs, or maybe mud lines, you know, or maybe main lake points. We'll move around, do different things, just depending on what the water level does. You know, the lake's designed to fluctuate in water, and there's no reason to let the falling water discourage you from fishing. The fish are still there. They just move around with it.
How far ahead of time do they normally have to book you?
Whew, that depends. You know, May of this year, we were just slammed. Basically April, May, and June were booked a couple of months in advance. But I encourage people to go ahead and call or drop me an email, because if I've got days on short notices, I will usually try to take them. But for the most part, if you can give me 30 days notice, you can usually get in pretty good.
And how do they get a hold of you?
Best chance of getting me is probably on my cell phone at 970-231-0252, or at my website at fishfulthinker.com, spelled just like it sounds. And there you can kind of get an update on what's going on in the lake and how we're catching fish, as well as hit some of my sponsors so you can get some of the equipment that I use day in and day out. And of course, drop me an email and let me know you want to go fishing. And I take a lot of kids. I really enjoy taking kids on the lake, and so we have fun with father-sons and father-daughters, as the case might be. He's fired up, that's for sure.
Oh, I tell you what, they are. You know what? No matter what size the smallmouth are, they're always. That's a decent fish.
That's a respectable horseshoe smallmouth.
Yeah, that's not a tiny fish. That's a nice fish.
That's a good tournament fish. If you're tournament fishing on this lake, that's one you want. You know, you get a limit of those, and you're going to be in the hunt.
I take those fish all day long. I tell you what, that's a light tackle. We're fishing with spinning gear. Do you need some help there?
Well, I'm new at this.
He's kidding. But you got to be so careful. Smallmouth are such a aggressive fish that they tend to really. You see, they explode by the boat, and then they get the hooks from the treble in them, other treble hooks from the lure in them. And we're fishing with quality lures that have really good trebles in them. So you got to be careful.
That's a nice fish. He's a testament for catch and release too. He's been dinged before, so like you say, an urban lake gets a lot of pressure. It's good to see catch and release works. That's about a 13-inch, pound-and-a-halfer, and he'd be a perfect size tournament fish.
I love smallmouth. I tell you what, they're fun to catch. You can catch them in a number of ways. Soft plastics, live bait, these jerk baits we're throwing now.
Yeah, this time of year, fish are transitioning, they're done spawning, and they're kind of moving to their main summer patterns, and you can cover water with a jerk bait and get fish that are very not aggressive or very negative or neutral fish. You can get them to bite just on a reaction alone. They don't have to necessarily be looking to eat.
That's a great point. You know, people think when fish are in a negative mode that you got to slow down and fish slow. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you got to just finesse them and really make the presentation natural and keep it in front of them. But quite often, they won't hit any finesse bite. But if you rip something by and they don't have much time to look at it, they just react. Exactly. Even though they're not feeding, they're in a negative mode, they'll just react to it. So a lot of times that negative or neutral fish you talked about, you do get a better reaction. People think you got to slow down. And here we're using erratic baits that just rip and erratically go through the water, but they just see it so quickly and they react to it. Had the same thing happen in ice fishing. You know, that's the ultimate finesse fishing. Yeah. Where you think you see fish on your electronics, they're there, you're working a tiny little jig, you're downsizing, you're going, and you can't get them to go. You take a spoon and just rip it, and all of a sudden, bam, they'll just nail it. So don't be afraid to, you know, experiment. Don't always be, like we talked about, you think there'd be a topwater bite right now, and there just doesn't seem to be one. But don't be afraid to experiment and go outside of the box a little bit. And remember, there's no absolutes in fishing.
No, there's no wrong answer. Some answers are better than others, but there's no real wrong one. You know, with the negative or neutral fish, the extremes take place. Either the fastest bait in the box or the slowest bait in the box, one of the two, and nowhere in between. Walleye.
Oh, all right.
Leave it to the guy from Minnesota to catch the walleye.
All right, I got tired of catching bass. I wanted to show them what these walleyes look like.
There you go.
I'll get him. It'll be fine.
You got him?
Oh yeah, I'll get it. He's not going anywhere, I don't think.
No, he looks like he's hooked up all right.
Nice, healthy fish too.
Horsetooth walleye.
You know, and that's another thing too, that there's a couple great year classes of walleyes in here that are in keeper size. This one's close, but it's probably a little short.
He's probably 17 and a half.
A little short, and I'm not going to keep this one, but good, healthy horsetooth walleye.
Yeah, good shoulders on him.
Good, thick, healthy fish. It's probably just a little short of the 18 inches. I should keep him and eat him, but we're going to let him go. A little close, but the nice thing about this lake is that there is a great population, the diverse population of fish in it.
Absolutely, and a jerkbait like this, you could catch anything from a perch to a walleye to a big trout to, of course, smallmouth or largemouth. So it's
not to mention splake and you know, there's depending on the time of the year, different fish are going to be more active. And the walleyes and smallmouth, all through the summer, there's going to be ways to catch them. It's going to be tougher, it's going to be different, they're going to move up and down, but there's going to be fish here to catch. And there's some tremendous year classes of walleyes here. So catching a bunch and catching a few to keep, if you concentrate on walleyes, you can get a few keepers out of here, have a good time, take a few home. Smallmouth, they're there. You may have to work harder different times of the year than others. You have more big fish in the spring, but we just saw we're in the middle, we're almost to July. It's a couple days before the 1st of July, and we caught a beautiful smallmouth already. Splake, probably more of a spring and fall fish, but they will be available. And they're getting up to the 10-pound range now.
Yeah, and there's some gigantic rainbows and cutbows in here. In December, January, we caught so many big rainbows, it was ridiculous. So, and they're very shallow that time of year. It can be a lot of fun.
And then not to mention the perch you mentioned, I want a panfish fishery. I've been traveling so much, this is my backyard, but I want to come out here and get 20 perch and just get those little finger fillets and throw them in the frying pan because they're so good.
Absolutely, yeah. This really is my backyard, and they're just real good action, and lots of them in the lake. Lots of bluegills now, which didn't used to be in the lake as well. And I think that's probably a product of the lake being drawn down for years and getting a little bit warmer, and now it's come around. Like you say, it's a very diverse fishery. There's lots of different types of things to fish and lots of ways to catch them.
Well, we're getting some rain.
Yeah, we need it, although maybe not right this minute. It's nice to have it, but
Tell you what, folks, we may have to call it a day here real quick. Why don't you come over here and we'll talk just a little bit and we'll get going. But don't know if we're going to have to get off the lake or if we're going to get to fish anymore or not, but you saw us catch a lot of fish on just basically one pattern. We threw some soft plastics. I got one on right now. I didn't catch fish on soft plastics all day, but the jerk baits, if you want to show them real quick.
Little jerk bait like that.
Like that, we threw both of them. I think every fish we caught some nice walleyes.
Yep.
And we caught some tiny walleyes, but we were really after the smallmouth. We got numbers and numbers of smallmouth, and a couple pretty decent ones. That one was a pig.
That one was a nice fish for sure, and there's more of them around. If the weather didn't run us off, we'd catch more of them for sure.
You know, if you come out to Horsetooth, I'm not going to say you're going to catch a big one like we did today, but you're going to catch fish if you follow these tactics. You know, give Chad a call if you want a guide. We'll put his information up here. It'll be in the credits again. It's getting rain in the camera. People are going to yell at me, so we need to get going. But get out here, fish a lake, catch a fish. You could catch a big one at any time. And join us next week on Mountain States Fishing.
Thanks a lot. There he is right there. I figured he'd bite. Oh, he came off. Golly.